Sony has announced and launched its own movie/TV studio, and of course they're calling it PlayStation Studios, because of course Sony already has Sony Studios, Sony Entertainment Studios. But yes, this is going to be a studio that is completely dedicated to their PlayStation brand and is going to be focusing on adapt PlayStation games into big budget movies as well as TV series. And the first ones off the block are going to be an Uncharted movie, which is, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter, already well into development. So that's going to be interesting. I'm curious as to where it's going to pick up, though, in the series. Is it going to take place between games? Is it going to take place during one of the games? Is it going to be, are they going to remake one of the games into a movie, or are they just going to be smart and not do that, because that's a terrible idea? That's why most video games suck. Video game movies suck, and they need to focus on, expanded universe stuff, in my opinion, anyway. Because it's kind of hard to fit a 40-plus hour video game experience into a 2 to 3 hour movie, you know?
Well, it's 40 plus hour. It's a 40 plus hour video game experience if there's grinding or you don't know what the hell you're doing. What about the speedrunner version of some of these games?
That would be very confusing, considering most speedrunners skip 90% of the story. Actually, hey, that's kind of what Hollywood's been doing with video game movies forever, so... But I don't think the entire point of this is to not do that.
Well, if there's gonna be like an old Drake, Nathan Drake, I don't know. People have been wanting like Nathan Fillion to be Nathan Drake forever, so it's like maybe if they're gonna do like an old Nathan Drake, yeah. But otherwise, maybe they need somebody younger there. So.
Also, I'm not sure, but I don't think they actually say whether or not these will be CG movies and TV shows or live action. My bet's on live action, but at the same time, with considering how well CG movies have been doing recently, I wouldn't be surprised if they do go the CG route. It would also make it a lot easier, because then you could bring in the same voice actors who voice the characters in the game to play the characters again for the movies without having to worry about how they look, you know? And that would even add another layer on top of things for the fandom, you know? Kind of like how Marvel's bringing back the actors who played the characters in the live-action movies to do their TV series on Disney+. That being said, there is another thing that we do know is in production, and this one is a TV series based off the Twisted Metal franchise. And we were kind of talking about this last night, about how which game's your favorite, which one had the best music compared to the best gameplay, and overall best and stuff like that. And it's in one of those franchises that kind of brings out that kind of discussion, because it's been around for a long time. And while the latest iterations were kind of shit, the older iterations, the original iterations on the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 were kind of some really, really good games.
Yeah. My opinion on old Twisted Metal games, Twisted Metal 2, that's just the classic one. Forget about the first. I mean, the PlayStation Classic, when that came out, it has Twisted Metal 1 on it. I believe it doesn't have Twisted Metal 2. That was really stupid of them. The Twisted Metal 2 is a superior game than Twisted Metal 1. Personally, I think I played Twisted Metal 1 a little emulated, but I played hours and hours of Twisted Metal 2. It has great cutscenes, has a great soundtrack, has great sound effects. I love Twisted Metal 2. You gotta see, there are videos on YouTube, just a collection of, all the different endings. Every ending was interesting. There was always a big twist that somebody wished for, and they just got screwed most of the time. There was only like one or two endings in Twisted Metal 2 where Calypso got owned, and in any other case, it was just like the contestant got owned. So yeah, Twisted Metal 2 had a great soundtrack, great sound effects, great characters, great cutscenes, great voice acting. I never played Twisted Metal 3. I preferred the gameplay and just maybe the enhanced graphics of Twisted Metal 4. I thought the characters in Twisted Metal 4 sucked, but I typically preferred playing that even more than Twisted Metal 2. Also, Twisted Metal 3 and 4, they didn't have original soundtracks. They had like licensed music, so there was like Rob Zombie, Zero Mancer, Cypress Hill. There were some of them in there. And then Twisted Metal Black, they went back to having, original music, but of course there was, Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. That was like the theme of that game. Yeah.
I liked Twisted Metal Black. To me, that's my favorite game.
Twisted Metal Black, fun fact, my father, the first album he ever bought was a Rolling Stones album back in the 60s that had that song on it. So I forget what the name of the album was, but it was probably back in like 65, 66, something like that. It wasn't the first Rolling Stone album, but it was the first one that he got. And that one, something that was, wait, I think about it. I think Twisted Metal 2 also had these cutscenes that were almost like, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, the cutscenes in Twisted Metal 2, they were like comic book, like stills or pages that were slightly
that sounds
animated.
like the cutscenes from
Black.
Well, I was going to say Max Payne.
Yeah. The thing is, I think Max Payne had less animation in those, though. They were really just like still pages.
There was like a little movement, like characters would move and stuff like that, I think, but it was it wasn't very animated. Though I did just find more information on the Uncharted movie. It will be a live-action movie, and it is going to be helmed by 10 Cloverfield Lane director Dan Trachtenberg. And you'll never guess who's going to play Nathan Drake.
Is he younger than 30 or over 30?
It's Tom Holland. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. So I'm just thinking
it's going to be a prequel.
So PlayStation had like a big Spider-Man game last year, right? And now they're getting the actor who plays Spider-Man to be Nathan Drake. A little confusing there.
But yeah, so Tom Holland will be playing Nathan Drake as a teenager, and it will be a prequel movie that will it's backstory basically for the video games.
Well, Tom Holland, when he's doing Peter Parker, he's trying to sound like a teenage American boy. Like he kind of talks like I'm not okay. He doesn't sound like Little Nicky, but he just sounds like he's like, I'm really trying to sound younger than I really am. So I'm just wondering how is his voice? Is it going to be different than Peter Parker? Is he going to? What kind of range is this guy going to bring to this? I don't want him to sound like Peter. Okay, that's something I could straight up say. I really hope he doesn't sound like Peter Parker. Okay. So, we were talking about Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal Black. Twisted Metal Black was probably in tone the most similar to Twisted Metal 2. If you took Twisted Metal 2 and Twisted Metal Black in tone, they were very similar. They had the same kind of dark imagery, the same kind of violence. And I just got to say, like the cutscenes in Twisted Metal 2, I'm just picturing like Spawn comic books. Okay, like that's what the hell the cutscenes in Twisted Metal 2. That's the kind of graphic imagery. So a Twisted Metal TV series, okay, all right. I mean, it's like the last Twisted Metal game was on PlayStation 3. I think it came out in like 2011. It had some sort of narrative in it where
the first Twisted Metal game. The first Twisted Metal game came out in 1995, with the latest entry arriving back in 2012.
I remember. Okay, Twisted Metal 2012. It was just called Twisted Metal, so that's annoying. First off, gotta say that they couldn't think of anything to put on the end of that. I believe that there was like a narrative in there. There was like a multiplayer mode where there was the Dollface gang, and then there's like the Sweet Tooth gang or something. And
it was just bad. It was just all around bad. The narrative sucked. Everything was just bad about it, and can we just not? That's why it did so bad, and that's why we haven't seen another Twisted Metal for 7 years.
I guess it's just up from here, you know.
Well, here's hoping.
Just the world of Twisted Metal, such a grim. It's like
it's very much a dystopian, future type thing.
It's kind of like, I would call Twisted Metal, the world of Twisted Metal, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, like.
Here's the thing: wasn't Twisted Metal set up to be like a TV series, like a kill series, kind of like how Hitman was kind of supposed to be like not Hitman, Manhunt was set up to be like a snuff film type thing. Wasn't Twisted Metal set up to be like a dystopian game show where you're battling to get a wish from Calypso? Like, or was it just a tournament thing, like more like Mortal Kombat?
I would say it. I would. Oh, dude, I would compare Calypso to Shang Tsung totally. If you were gonna make that's an interesting comparison. Maybe there wouldn't be a Twisted Metal if there hadn't been a Mortal Kombat, especially the Mortal Kombat movie. Although the Mortal Kombat movie came out, I think, in '95, and the first Twisted Metal came out also in '95, but that's interesting. You know, the first Twisted Metal, there were actually these live action cutscenes that I don't even know if they were like on the game. It seemed like when I played, I think they were maybe supposed to be in the game, but then they were taken out because they were just like so like B movie. They were like cheesier than like the Resident Evil cutscene, which is like, that's hard to believe, but that's a thing you can see on YouTube, like live action Twisted Metal cutscenes, and
I'd like to see that, like, since they're doing it as a TV series, I'd like to see them do it as like a tournament style TV series where you tune in once a week or whatever to watch two people fight it out. Maybe each episode like kind of goes into the prepping each character's going through before finally getting to the battle. Maybe the battle takes anywhere between, like, how long are these shows? Are these half-hour shows or an hour-long shows? If they're like half-hour shows, we could be like 15 minutes of backstory and like just them setting up, maybe talking about maybe they have a rivalry or something like that, and then the next 15 minutes would just be them going at it, you know, in the arenas. And the same thing could be used for an hour-long show, like the first half hours, all of them talking, do like what wrestling does, all the big setups and showmanship and stuff like that for the fighters. And I think it would actually be a very interesting TV series if they did it that way.
You know, I'm just thinking about, okay, when you play a Twisted Metal game, you pick a car, you pick a driver, right? You pick a character. and you play every level, and you basically have to be the last person alive to get to the next level, right? To make progress in the single player mode, campaign, whatever you want to call it. And you assume like every car you blow up, oh, they're dead. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to think, how do they make progress in a Twisted Metal tournament? Like, because in the games themselves, it's like people, you're blowing up other people's cars and you think the drivers are dead or something. So it's like, how do those characters stay alive on the show? You know, it sounds like a little tricky. Unless mega plot armor for anybody who's like a notable character. Like there's like all these scrubs like getting owned that don't have like any names. They're all a bunch of red shirts.
D-class personnel SCP from SCPs from the SCP Foundation. They're expendables. Yeah, ejection seats. Okira's a good option. Ejector seats. Like, and also, who knows? Maybe like that could also be part of like a plot line. Like, oh hey, somebody tampered with with this guy's car. His ejector seat ain't working, and then you could actually kill off characters that way too. It'd be like,
here's the other thing I got to tell you about Twisted Metal games. You got to think about everything that's going on in this tournament is totally illegal. Like it's like, and there's no police like ever. Although there have been characters that are supposed to be police officers, like
Axel, I believe.
Outlaw is supposed to be a cop. But I'm just trying to picture this. Imagine like if they that Mortal Kombat
to me
movie,
personally, it kind of seems like Mordo World from in War World, you know, Superman type thing. You get teleported into this arena against your will, and you're forced to fight, and you get a wish at the end.
Imagine like the Mortal Kombat movie if they didn't have the Mortal Kombat tournament on some island somewhere, if they just had it in like Los Angeles, New York, Paris, and there were like motherfuckers like, you know, killing each other in the street, and there would probably be cops coming out like, oh, stop the fight, and then there'd be like world star motherfuckers with cameras and shit like recording everything. Dude.
But you know, at the same time, I don't think the police would really be able to stop any of the Mortal Kombat fighters. For Christ's sake, one of them's a god of lightning.
Yeah,
that would be an interesting premise, though. But
okay. The world of Twisted Metal, it's got to be so goddamn cynical that like all this chaos is happening in all these different locations.
People like if I'm right about it being a TV show, people watch it for entertainment. That's how dystopian and fucked up life is in this world.
Yeah, man.
Like if this is an actual televised event in their world that we're playing through, it's like,
dude,
humanity's fucked.
It's gonna like just Ready Player One mixed with Sin City. Everything is just gone to hell. Dystopian like future, like no morality.
They just watch people shooting each other in decked out armored cars for fun and entertainment.
Now, the thing is, I always had the impression that like everything that was happening, this is all just illegal. This is just like, these are like just mass atrocities just happening in like all these different locations. But dude, what if in the world this was like somehow sanctioned? Maybe Calypso is like, he is like hypnotized the goddamn world, because Calypso is essentially, he's like the devil. Calypso is the goddamn devil.
Yeah. And also, technically, I believe each of the heroes is technically a convict, isn't that right? Like they've done some seriously bad shit, which is the reason why they're actually in the tournament.
Oh, dude, there's a wide range in Twisted Metal characters, dude. Like,
didn't Sweet Tooth like kill his own whole family or something like that? Or
well, Sweet Tooth is a serial killer. He's a mass murderer.
Yeah.
He didn't. If he killed his father in the canon of Twisted Metal, Dark Tooth was a boss in Twisted Metal 2, I think. I don't know what the deal is with Sweet Tooth's father, but he didn't kill his father until like into the game series. So when Sweet Tooth was younger, he didn't kill his father. He has a father named Darktooth. I would say that there's a lot to work. Okay, you asked me. Every Twisted Metal character, they've all had some sort of criminal background,
like some really fucked up background. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think back to Twisted Metal Black. Everybody's got like some disaster, tragedy background. Okay, I mean like Spectre. It was like the bride she's driving around in like a wedding dress that she stole off of like a friend that she had killed wearing that dress, and then she just took that off her body, and there's like a big blood stain on the dress.
Okir says Axel couldn't save his wife, and that's why he entered the race, trying to resurrect her. But yeah, so I guess not all of them have a bad background. I guess some of them have different reasons for joining the race. But yeah, like you said, Calypso's pretty much the devil. That's why he's done this. And who knows? It's one of those things where it's like, I want to see where they go with this, because this is a very interesting premise that they can run with, and they can just like take off with.
It's important that the series, if it's going to pay any homage to the games, it has to be in the same like tone as Twisted Metal 2 and Black. See, I liked Twisted Metal 4, but dude, like Twisted Metal 4, there was like a leprechaun character driver. There was like a family driving a station wagon called the Joneses or something. I don't think that has any place in a Twisted Metal series. Rob Zombie was a driver in Twisted Metal. actual Rob Zombie driving a Dragula. Oh my god.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this, because as we've discussed, there's so many things that they can do with this. Whether it be they go for the tournament style, or like Mortal Kombat, or they go with the whole it's a TV series angle, which could also work really interestingly.
Twisted Metal 2 was like the edgiest fucking PlayStation game. Twisted Metal 2 was the edgiest fucking PlayStation game. Like that is like a game like if your mom knew you were playing it, if she knew what the hell was in that game, she wouldn't want you playing that game. Oh my god.
Vehicular combat was fun though. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they adapt it for TV. And that being said, I'm wondering if this is going to be on a streaming service like Netflix or Hulu or something like that, or if they're going to shop it around to actual TV networks, or is it going to be on PlayStation? Because actually, now that I think about it, they did have their own like mini series called Powers that was only available on PlayStation, I believe, relating to
2?
Yeah, I think so. So that might be on there. I don't know. We'll see. That's one of that is a very big question to think about too. Like, where will we be able to watch these things? Is the movie going to go out in theaters, or is it just going to go straight to a streaming service or straight to TV? Same can be said about the Twisted Metal TV series. Is it going to be on a streaming service or on TV? And if it's going to be on a streaming service, which streaming service or services is it going to be available on? Because while yes, the PlayStation does have a large install base, I would think that they would want to get as many people as they can watching it, because not everybody's subscribed to PlayStation View. Meanwhile, there's more people, even those who have a PlayStation system, that aren't subscribed to PlayStation View, but are subscribed to, say, either Netflix or Hulu, you know? So it really raises the question, like, where will we be able to see these movies and TV series?
I'm picturing a Twisted Metal show, and this is something that shouldn't be on normal kind of cable TV. It should be like on a premium station, premium television. It should be on HBO. It should be on Showtime.
Well, it won't be on HBO
or,
because it's not being produced by HBO. It's being produced by PlayStation. So
okay.
I mean, it might go on HBO or something like that, but or at least the movies might, because HBO is home box office. They used to at least have movies on there instead of just all their own programming. But that is one thing that we'll need to figure out, and hopefully that they announce in a decent time frame. Because if it's as they say that the Uncharted movie is already in advanced development, which means they might already be shooting it. They might have already shot it, or they might be about to shoot it, or they might have already shot half of it, or they might have already finished shooting it and are editing it. Who knows what advanced development means?
I was just thinking about there was a Gerard Butler movie. I want to say from like 2010, 2009, something like that, called Gamer. That was a fucked up dystopian. That was a fucked up dystopian future
where gamers control convicts, and if they win, the convict gets their sentence waived or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that kind of immorality dystopian future. That something like that.
Yeah,
but more.
And hey, guess what? That was a death game, and that was a broadcast television thing, or in that universe. And so that is possible that they will take again that route. That's another good example of what I was trying to give an example of.
But dude, if they're just tearing up different locations, I mean, this would be like organized terrorism, dude. Sanctioned terrorism.
Or if the arenas are built specifically for this, too, there's also that possibility.
Okay, just within the confines of, trying to create some sort of context where this could kind of happen. Yeah, they could have different. It'd just be like, I think the
arenas in question would be like the maps in the games too.
I don't want it to just seem like some demolition derby, though. Okay, I want it to be more than that. I want it to be more than that. And when I think of Twisted Metal, I always think of there aren't really arenas. You're just. People are driving around out in public trying to fucking kill each other.
But there are arenas, though, because each map has certain boundaries. So if you think about it, the map, no matter how large or small, no matter what it depicts, whether it be like an urban square where it's an urban environment, a bunch of homes and stuff. But
in the Twisted Metal games, there were people like women walking like baby carriages and grandmas walking across the street like in the middle.
I don't remember that, but
there were people walking around on the street and you could like run them over. Shit, dude, there were civilians.
Okay, well that's
what I was getting at.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
okay.
This like crazy terrorism, like this.
Yeah,
it's like if Calypso can arrange this to where there's like no police involvement.
Just like I can, because again there were barriers in the game. I can imagine him like setting up barriers around like this urban development and just dropping in two of the people and telling them to have at it.
In the video game, there had to be barriers, especially like there just has to be barriers in a freaking video game. Even now, there's barriers when they could have totally giant open worlds, and even if you play a typical open world game, it's like you get to the ocean and that's a fucking barrier. My guy can't swim. It's a barrier. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh man, they probably gonna be disappointed with whatever the hell this is, but dude.
I have faith that at least Sony would be able to do it better than probably any other Hollywood company would be able to.
I mean, yeah, if it's their own property and it's all in house, the PlayStation brand and stuff. They're the ones that should be doing it. Yeah.